Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this weekly podcast here in the Elevate class. This is our junior and senior high class where we meet weekly to discuss the Bible. And so we appreciate you being with us. Hope that you gain much from these weekly podcasts. And we're so glad that you're joining us. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today as we're talking about the point of congregating. People congregate for a lot of different reasons, whether it's business events, political events, sporting events. We congregate in the church. And why? What's the point? So we're discussing that today. And part of the thing we started talking about, Elijah, at the beginning of class was how that church attendance is declining. And we looked at different statistics, and really less than 20% of Americans in our day and age right now attend church. Any ideas why you think church attendance is declining? Why people aren't coming regularly like they used to?
Maybe they don't know. Maybe they just choose not to.
Maybe they don't know. Maybe they choose not to. Maybe they don't realize what they're missing, huh? Okay. Nevertheless, church is declining. But we understand it's important for us to continue to attend church regularly. So you're someone who attends church regularly. You only miss if you're sick. So what would you say are benefits or ways that help us by coming to church regularly? What do we get from regularly attending church?
It helps you to make good choices and makes you wise. Yeah.
That's a great point, especially as a teenager, because life's hard sometimes. You don't have answers. So to gain wisdom and know how to make good choices, that's a really good point. And we would miss that element of instruction from God's word and God's ways if we didn't come to church, right? That's a good point. Okay, one last point that we'll make. We talked about that when we come together to church, we get to entertain or be in the presence of God. That coming to church unifies us. And coming to church gives us accountability. So as a teenager, why is it important, for example, that we're in a place that's unified? Is it easier to serve God when you've got other people doing it there with you? Mm-hmm. So that's a way that we can understand by coming to church with people who have the same goals I do, it helps me on my journey. Would you agree with that? Absolutely. And probably the biggest part is to entertain the presence of God. Wow, that's a privilege for us to be able to come into God's presence. Do you remember earlier in the lesson how in the Old Testament, one man, one time a year could go into what? The presence of God, right? Now, is it limited to one man?
No.
Any of us, whosoever will, can come. So that's such a benefit that comes from being in church, right? Mm-hmm. Glad you're here in church today and helping us. So why don't you switch out? We're going to invite Connor to come over to wrap up two final questions here as we're talking about why do we congregate? Why do we come to church? So, Connor, tell us a way or two or 30 ways that your life has benefited by coming to church.
I've learned about Jesus.
Nice. Would you maybe have learned those things if you never came?
No.
Well, look at that. So you're already wiser than a lot of other people by what you've learned by coming to church. So last thing for you then, what do you like about coming to church?
Mainly that I get to learn about Jesus and I can see my friends.
Awesome, yeah. So there are great benefits, and we hope that whatever church you attend, that you're gaining things from it, that you're enjoying the presence of God and the presence of God's people, because it's so important in our day and time that we continue to congregate all the more as we see the coming of the Lord approaching. So thank you for being with us. We hope that you'll tune in next week as we consider more of these ideas of what's the point? Why do we do what we do? We'll have more answers for you then.
Hey, thank you for joining us in this week's episode. We're looking forward to seeing you, whether in person or online, next time.